my knowledge of gold doesn't go much beyond having watched James Bond in Goldfinger a few times. I've never held a gold bar in my hand, but I do know the significance of the precious metal. And I do know that it brings surety, although like anything, its value can fluctuate. So if I was to invest in gold, and please don't tell my wife, I would really need an expert helping hand, especially with all the dubious fail-safe opportunities out there. Only last week, I was pursued once again by a LinkedIn connection offering me his gold investment expertise. By the way, he's no longer a connection. I know where the delete button is. Investing in gold is as old as the hills it comes from, but it too has changed. And leading that change is Goldex. Let's meet its founder and CEO, Sylvia Carrasco. Welcome, Sylvia.
Hi, Malcolm. How are you? Good morning.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm in a very wet Northumberland, but you're in a beautiful sunny Spain, I believe.
Absolutely. You know, COVID has made me realize that we can all work remotely. So I've been here for a few weeks now. Being able to access the world from a little town in northern Spain is not a bad idea.
The world has changed, and obviously Goldex is helping change it as well with the app. Before we start delving into this world of gold, please give us a little overview, a short overview about Goldex and how it works.
Goldex is effectively an award-winning marketplace, gold marketplace. For the same that today we go and buy things on Amazon, where you find a variety of dealers who are selling you different products. I realized that there was a lack of something similar in the gold space. We are a little more advanced. I usually say it's like Amazon on steroids, because we consolidate the prices from multiple dealers into one, so customers only see one price. But effectively, for the first time, we are able to connect to multiple gold dealers through that are connected to our technology platform. So when a customer gives us an order, we always send that order to the dealer who is offering the best price. So you always get the best price when you buy gold, and when it's time to sell, you also get the best price, because we might have bought your gold from dealer one, but when it comes to selling your position, we might sell it to dealer 5 because he's offering at that millisecond a better price. So ultimately, our ethos is just to make sure that we are putting our customers in contact with a market out there that is basically saving them on the price that they pay for the gold.
Fascinating. Now, although Goldex may look like a gold dealer, you're not one, is that correct?
That's exactly the case. Every single gold dealer out there operates in what is called an OTC market, over the counter. So first they buy the gold, and then they sell it to their customers. How do they make money? They make money because they put a markup on that price. It's a little bit like when you go to the airport and you want to buy currency. When you fly to Europe, you buy euros. You go to the airport, to the FX, Bureau de Change, and they will be selling you the euros at an X rate, and that's how they make their money. Plus, they also charge you a commission, don't forget.
Yeah.
The likes of Revolut changed this, and people, for example, use these new apps to buy their FX because, ultimately you are buying your currency at a better price. That is exactly the model of Goldex. We don't buy our own gold. We don't own a gram of gold. Every single order that we receive from a customer goes to a dealer, and we only make money from their commission. We don't make a penny. So if we save on average between 7 and 14% in every single buy and sell from our customers' prices, we don't keep a penny. We pass all the savings to them. We just charge a very transparent commission price, and customers basically benefit from it. But we're a technology platform, a little bit like certain companies like Uber. They don't own any taxis. Amazon, they don't own the products, or even Airbnb, they don't own any hotels. They are a method for you to access those services. Goldex is the same. We're a method, a platform for you to access gold at the best prices.
Wow. And I bet that 17 to 14% really adds up in the end. I'm reading that with Goldex, you've set out to disrupt the world of gold investing. And I'm getting the feeling that this is necessary. So how is the Goldex marketplace aiming to do it?
Well, effectively, the as I said, the main the vision relies on the foundation that we had on the vision we had on day one, which was we don't want to be gold dealers. We don't want to. We don't want to adopt the same model that the others have adopted. As far as I know, there is nobody else with the same model as we have. So it looks like we are the only platform, the only technology platform where we are always acting as an agent on behalf of the customers. So that is first and foremost the best way to disrupt the market. Think about this: if we owned gold, we would be conflicted with our own customers because we would be looking at benefiting from those markups in the prices. So we need to be very clean. I usually say Goldex is like a football pitch. We have created a football pitch where participants can play. On one hand, the dealers can put the prices and sell their gold, and on the other hand, the customers can buy the gold. So you have two teams, and we have to be the referees. You cannot be the referee and score goals, because in that case, you are not really a referee, are you? So we need to have that, a scrupulous mentality of, we need to be unconflicted with the dealers to make sure that they don't, mistrust us, and with our customers to make sure that they also know that we are not skinning the cat in a different way. So that's first and foremost the best way to disrupt the market.
I love that analogy about football, and you probably like the VR, that the virtual reality, watching what's going on. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I've heard you say, though, the physical gold market is siloed for its different users. What do you mean by that, and how do those silos affect gold investors?
Well, imagine this thing. Gold, it must be the most fungible asset anybody can own. If I suddenly am trapped in a South American little town, and I lost all my money, I can always take something gold that I have, maybe a ring, maybe a pendant, and I can go to a little shop in that little town in South America, and they could give me, I could pawn it, they could give me money for it. So isn't it amazing that it's so fungible? You can be anywhere in the world, and you can sell that asset. However, when it comes to trading gold, is the most unfungible asset class when you buy physical gold, digital physical gold, as I call it. So what happens is you go to a dealer, you can buy it at a good price, absolutely. They store that physical gold for you in their vaults, which is great. But then what happens is when it comes the time for you to sell that gold, you can only sell it back to them. You cannot sell it. The only way for you to sell it to somebody else would be that you get it at home and then you sell it. But electronically speaking, an asset class like physical gold that sits in a particular vault with a particular dealer has to be sold back to that dealer. So that makes your journey that the moment you are in bed with somebody, you know that when it comes, is the time to come out, you are going to be, in a way, kidnapped by them. So that siloing makes that you as a user are stuck with that dealer. You can buy shares with a broker. For example, you can buy Vodafone, Telefonica shares with a broker, and you might sell them with a different broker because maybe they give you a better commission. With gold, that's not the case. So that's what I mean, that it's a very siloed market. How does it affect customers? Well, not all dealers are operate in the same way. Usually, of course, they will entice you to buy gold at a very good price, knowing that when it's time for you to get out, don't you worry, they are going to put a little bit more of a cost there because they know they can. So that affects customers heavily. And the reason why in the platform we wanted to make sure that you were never going to be siloed. You could buy from one dealer but sell from another. So that removes that, kidnapping of your gold position, if I can use that term.
Yeah, I love that position, that integrity positioning that you put into Goldex there. I said in my opening piece about the dubious trying to make me invest. Well, at least I think they're dubious. Are there many such people around? And how does Goldex distance itself from them? What do gold investors have to check from a provider when they want to purchase gold?
Well, there are, interestingly enough, the World Gold Council, which is the body that represents the industry in practices, research, and basically their ethos, their vision is to promote gold, to the masses and to give a lot of education around it. They literally about a month ago have published the 7 articles for what investors have to actually check when they buy or invest in gold. This has been, it is still an ongoing project for them. They have conducted thousands and thousands of interviews to customers across different areas of the world: China, India, Canada, Germany, UK, etc. They have also spent thousands of hours and interviews with gold dealers. So they came up with these 7 principles that investors should look at. For example, the quality of your gold. Does the gold belong to you? What are the commissions? Is that dealer transparent in their commissions and fees? Because, as I said, it's a market which is very untransparent. What about in the case of liquidation? How is your investment protected or not? What are the securities that the company have to make sure that they are not attacked by cybersecurity, etc. So they call the 7 principles, which Goldex is 100% abiding. We've been part of this consultation from day one. We're extremely close to the World Gold Council because we want to align with themselves in making sure that the industry has a better reputation. There is, I think, around 48%, in one of the surveys they found out 48% of potential gold investors don't actually really trust the industry. Mainly also because of a lack of education. So the main barriers when it comes to investment is 1, lack of trust and 2, lack of education. So those are 2 things that we definitely at Goldex address. One is we want to give education to people, and we also want to make sure that not just with us, if you're going to buy gold, look at the World Gold Council, check the 7 principles so that you take an informed decision about where you are going to buy your gold, the same that you will do when you buy any other investment in your life. Okay. But there are very good companies out there, and it shouldn't stop people from investing in gold.
Let's stay with education just for a moment, because although everybody knows what gold is in the UK, we're not used to investing in it as much as do, say, in shares or premium bonds. Do you think then education is the real key to help potential investors? And how does Goldex deliver that education?
Absolutely. Education is key in all aspects of life. And the more informed we are about the subject, I think the better the decision we take. There are many ways in which Goldex is addressing the education matter. First of all, we publish weekly articles about not necessarily gold. But for example, at the moment, we've just published an article about the implications of the US elections. And then we always make a reference to gold. We talk, for example, about COVID and how it affects the economy and gold. So we actually take, trending topics on a weekly basis, and we write to inform people on those matters that affect our daily lives. The second thing we do is we also publish on a weekly basis a markets commentary. We are looking at the markets, the equities markets, the bonds markets, the futures, the debt, what's a little bit more in depth in terms of the economics behind, but that is a commentary that is extremely well received, because one thing that I also put in every single education channel that we have is I want Goldex to speak in plain English. I always say, whatever article we publish, my 88-year-old mother must be able to understand. I come from a city background, so I can talk a little bit of the lingo of, funky way of speaking in economics terms. But I don't want this. Goldex is a platform where we're not only looking at a trading professional, we're also looking at a plumber that does not necessarily need to know the jargon of financial products. So our commentaries have to be in crystal clear English, short. It's another thing that I'm very strong about. If I have a report of 20 pages, by page 2, probably I'm either sleeping or very bored. So they have to be short, to the point, in plain English. And then there is one thing we do, a couple of things that we do that nobody else does in the market, which is we publish weekly trade recommendations. We basically send a very short commentary with a view of what we think is going to happen pretty much in the next week. So we take the view that you should buy gold, because we think the price is going to hit this particular price in this particular period frame, or you should hold, or you should sell. Very, very easy, and even people who don't know, how to buy and sell gold, they can take their own decision, but this is our view on the market. And trust me, we have no problems telling people that it's time to sell, because we are not only for people to buy, we're also for people to sell. And then finally, we're about to launch what we call the Goldex Academy. And the Goldex Academy, basically, anybody will be able to access our internet page, and we are publishing lessons, weekly lessons for 3 levels: beginners, intermediate, or advanced people. So the same that you might, decide to play poker because of COVID, you're bored at home. You need to start from what is poker, how do you play poker, what are the hands, etc. So we do a little bit the same with gold. What is gold, how do you invest, and then you can progress onto the different levels. That, as I said, we're extremely proud about it. It will be coming very, very soon, and we will also be able to offer that through the app at the moment. So it's all about education, people taking the right investment decisions.
Well, we must chat to you when the Academy is open, because I think that's a very exciting opportunity for people. So, but Sylvia, let's get to a moot point: cybersecurity. Almost every day we're bombarded with stories of financial services companies, such as banks, being hacked. And today's cyber criminals seem to be ever more clever. So bluntly, how does Goldex protect its investors? How can a user be sure of his or her investment?
Absolutely. You always have to be catching, you always need to be ahead of the hackers. Unfortunately, I don't think anybody is safe. I think I could be pretty much lying if I would tell you, well, we're 100% safe, nobody can actually hit us. That's not true. If hackers can hit the White House or the FBI or the biggest multinationals that we know in the world, surely they will be able to hit us. It doesn't, and that should be sufficient for us to take this very seriously and put all sorts of measures in place to try to protect our investors. However, we obviously have tremendous risk controls and engines in place. No need to mention that everything is encrypted, etc. But one of the interesting models that, because of the model that we have, interestingly enough, even if we got hacked by a nasty hacker who wants to deplete, like in the James Bond movie you were referring to, where they, the baddie one hits send, and then you can see him getting billions into his Swiss account or whatever. Actually, that is not, at the moment, is not possible. We have a mechanism so that, customers cannot effectively lose their money by sending. So when you sell, if somebody accesses your phone and sold your gold position, they cannot actually put their own bank account. That money could be sent back to your personal bank account. So that means that, okay, the body one is going to be selling your gold, but ultimately the money will arrive back to your account. Right. So that is very, very important to make sure that at least on that front, our customers' assets and money is always protected.
That's very, very reassuring. Now, let's crystal ball time. How hard do you think it's going to be fully change the gold market? Are you succeeding in your vision so far? And if so, where do you see the industry in the next, let's say, 5 or 10 years?
I think things are changing. I set up Goldex 5 years ago, and I can tell you that my ex-colleagues from the city, and I'm coming from a heavy trading background, my colleagues said, were asking me, Sylvia, what do you do these days? And I said, well, I've set up a gold business. And they would say, a gold? What? Yeah, gold, that yellow thing that shines. And they would say to me, but who buys gold? Yeah. And I always said to them, I said, look, gold is going to become mainstream. The reason why it hasn't been more mainstream is because there has been a problem with accessibility. And the more access we give to potential investors, the more people will buy it. And I always said, give it 5 to 10 years and you will see the change in people's mentality around gold. And I always said, I know this industry is going to change. I'm not telling you that Goldex will be the one that is the success, but I know it will change. Fast forward 5 years, and that's exactly what has happened. You look at COVID, it's pretty much on a weekly basis. You look on the Financial Times, on the Daily Mail, is it the right time to buy gold? Should we look at gold? Is it, so I think obviously in the last 5 years, things have changed. In the next 5 years, things will change even more. I think the more companies like us that try to disrupt the market will make it more accessible. The more education that we give customers will mean that the asset becomes more openly and widely used. I hope we are part of that journey, and I hope we end up being that provider of reference when it comes to gold investments. It's still, there is plenty of room for disruption. Plenty of room for disruption. And I think, disruption in the next 5 years is going to be embraced by many participants, because up until now, they haven't really had, the dealers or the industry has not really had anybody challenging the status quo. Companies like us are here to disrupt their status quo, and suddenly they are waking up and thinking, maybe I have to do this, which is great, because it means that it will always benefit the end user. And that is the whole point of disrupting an industry.
I'm definitely certain the Goldex were there with your energizing leadership. Now, I've had the pleasure of interviewing your CMO, Chief Marketing Officer, Tom Newbold, for our Talking Tech show, and I suggest viewers may like to view that later and gain even more reassurance on Goldex. But now, let's talk about the word behind the title of this Meet the Leader show, and that's leadership. First, let's look at the purpose of your business. Putting aside making money, what do you see as the true purpose, or the older word mission, of Goldex? And how will you know when you're achieving your purpose?
If I have to give the main mission is to offer, customers, from somebody investing £10 to somebody investing potentially millions, a tool where they, first of all, they can trust that they are buying gold, at the best price they can possibly buy, and making sure that those customers are protected and their investments and their assets are safe. So that is our main mission. Align ourselves with the customer where they can always get the best deal in a safe and trustworthy environment.
Excellent. Now, you are that rare achiever in the world of financial services, a woman CEO. You've kindly agreed to be on our Conscious Business show about that, which viewers can watch later. But how hard is it to reach the top as a woman in financial services? And how do you think you achieved it?
Well, I couldn't say how hard it is to achieve being a CEO in financial services. I would say, how hard is it for a woman to achieve being the CEO of any company, in any industry? So, and I think we still have that glass ceiling. In the financial industry, obviously, I'm 51 years old now. I started my career a long time ago. At the time, there weren't many ladies sharing a trading floor with me. Very few ones, but trust me, the ones that were there, you wouldn't mess around with. Very strong. You needed to be made of a different material to be there. The problem is, of course, if you have less, you still have less women going to the financial industry. If you want to set up your own fintech company, you need to have experience in finance. There is no question about this. I still think there is a lack of young professionals going into the city. It's much better than it was, but I think that we still need to push that moving forward. And I think it's a matter of determination. Unfortunately, I don't know. I probably would say maybe I've had to work twice as hard. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't like playing the victim. I always say I've never encountered discrimination. Discrimination is very difficult to pinpoint. Nobody has said to me, Sylvia, I'm not investing in Goldex because you are a woman. So until that day, I won't be able to tell you that I haven't raised funds because I am a woman. However, there are certain stats that show that only 17% of companies, fintech companies, are run by women, and only 2% of VC funds go into fintech companies led by women. So we have a lot of things to do. Personally, I don't know. All I know is I've worked very hard. I've been extremely lucky that in my journey I've had tremendous male colleagues helping me. I have tremendous male investors and male colleagues. But at the end of the day, I want to believe that I've managed to arrive where I am just by working hard and being determined.
Brilliant. If I was to ask your team, on the quiet, of course, what's Sylvia's style of leadership? What would you like their answer to be, or what do you think their answer would be?
They will tell you I'm very hard. They will. So, but at the same time, I'm very approachable. I'm very human in my relationship with my colleagues. You will never, ever hear me talking me about my employees, my team, ever. I hate that word. People don't work for me. People work with me. We are a team. It doesn't matter from the 21-year-old intern to my co-founder, to myself. We are all part of an engine, and even the tiny little screw on an engine has a reason of existence. And with that little, sometimes just a little screw makes the entire car not working. So first and foremost, they are my colleagues, and I appreciate that sometimes somebody has to take direction, give directions, and I do this. I am hard in the sense that I expect people to be very professional. I am, very hard with myself first and foremost, and I like leading by example. I cannot ask any of my colleagues to do something if I don't do it myself. I always say that I am the best coffee maker in the office. I have no problem doing the coffees for everybody. I have no problem taking the beans out. There is no such a hierarchy. On a personal basis, I'm very proud that usually when they have problems, they come to me. I'm a human being. I am as human as they are. I'm in that position when sometimes I have to say what's wrong, and I expect good quality from the people. But at the same time, I want to have that personal relationship where, I understand that they can always, my door is always open, and they know this. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. I need to remember that not for, but with. That's a great one. We're facing an uncertain future. How do you think your leadership skills will change over the coming months, even years? For example, remote leadership is here to stay, and you yourself, Atoma, working from home, and that brings new team motivation and productivity challenges, doesn't it?
Yes, interestingly enough, on a personal basis, I can tell you that the company's productivity has increased since we have been on lockdown. People have to travel less to go to the office. When you're in the office, you are spending more time having a coffee, having a cigarette, having lunch, talking. Do you have 5 minutes? Can I talk to you for 10 minutes? Definitely my productivity levels have improved because I have less of, do you have 2 minutes? So on that sense, actually, I see myself continuing working, at least half of the time on a remote basis. I've already decided that even when we have a vaccine, people should be able to work from home at least 3 days a week. People enjoy working from home. At the same time, they also enjoy interacting with others, being part of a group. And for that reason, I think 2 days in an office to having that social interaction, team bonding is very, very important. Otherwise, people start also seeing shadows behind the laptops. And I think it's important we all meet at least once or twice a week. The challenges we've learned at the beginning, I was very worried about hiring people remotely. How are you going to bring somebody up to speed? Usually in the office, you put him next to you and he shadows you for X amount of time. Remotely, how hard is this? Well, I think we've hired 4 or 5 people since COVID started. And it's actually worked well. You only have to, work in with a different style. We obviously have, all set of different digital tools, video calls, video conferences. As I said, we're all available all the time to do this. I think because of COVID, from day one, I was very adamant that we also had social times together. So on Fridays, we do virtual drinks. So we finish that week with a drink, you can have a beer, Diet Coke or a whiskey or whatever you fancy. Yeah. And it's the time to talk rubbish, as I say. I tell them all my stories about my fishing that week or not. Somebody else will be talking about, some other things that they are doing during the weekend. And that's very important to keep that social interaction between the team.
Yeah.
But I think also the other thing that is COVID has pinpointed is that you have to make decisions very fast. You don't have time to dwell about changes. You need to recognize what's happening, and you need to move fast and make the business change directions if needed. And that's proved, I think, in COVID, fundamental for companies to survive.
Yeah, I'm loving your approach to what they're calling the hybrid leader there. Are you a great believer in performance measurement? And if so, how do you do it? Do you say have a big bunch or a small bunch of KPIs, key performance indicators?
Yes, you obviously have your commercial KPIs, which are important. Investors ask you for them. It's also important for me to monitor the business and to know how well or not we're doing, how effective changes are they working, especially in marketing. You launch a new campaign, is it working, is it not working? You need to have measurements, otherwise you have no visibility. So on the commercial side, of course, internally, as I said, measuring different things that are not necessarily important for investors. For me, are metrics that I use. We also use OKRs methodology, which is effectively more based on goals rather than KPIs. I prefer, an OKR vision, where I say to the team, we all together think about what is our next goal, and with that goal, we distill all the different steps we need to take, and ultimately you have that vision to go towards that goal, and the KPIs come under it. But it's a necessary evil for businesses, and you need to be able to have metrics to know where you're going and to correct the course. It's a little bit like the autopilot. You need to be able to know where you are on your GPS, whether you're off course, or in your course. And if you're off course, you need to be able to do something to go back to the course.
Excellent, yeah. Sylvia, we're facing the worst ever recession for 30 years, the continuing whammy of coronavirus, and the sheer perplexity of Brexit. So what do you think is the future for the UK, and what should investors be doing now?
Well, of course, unfortunately, I don't think COVID is going to leave us anytime soon. We were discussing previous to the interview that potentially maybe a vaccine will not be available until autumn 2021. We need to learn to live with it. However, it has tremendous economic implications. As much as we want to live with it, I don't see before COVID. Think about this: gold was already in the rise. For 1 year, I was talking in different interviews saying I see gold going up. Actually, I hit pretty much all the prices 1 year before, so I was quite accurate on my predictions. That started because of macroeconomics and geopolitical issues, and the world was already going into recession territory. COVID has now exacerbated that issue. So before we were in a little bit of trouble, we were starting to dip into trouble. Now we are fully in trouble. In regards of investments, gold is obviously proving, gold prices are going up. Do I think that they will continue going up? The answer is yes. Remember, gold is a refuge. Is the cushion that you always keep for a rainy day. It always interacts on the opposite direction of pretty much all of your other investments. So if you buy shares, if you own shares, they usually go down, gold will go up. So it's a hedge mechanism also against your other investments. Will I tell people to put 100%, 80%, even 50% of their money in gold? No, don't do this. I think on average, put between 10 and 15% of your total wealth portfolio into gold. I wouldn't put my mother's entire savings into gold, and she's my mother, and I like gold. So use with caution, but should everybody have a 10 to 15% of their wealth into gold? Yes. And I would go also into physical gold. Yes, because physical gold means that the gold belongs to you. If you buy an ETF, the gold doesn't belong to you. All you own is an IOU from a bank. So if you want to be safe, you must go better on the physical route. So I will encourage people to continue looking at investing in savings and shares, etc. There are great opportunities to buy shares. I'm a shares person by trade, equities person. So definitely look at other asset classes, but also if you haven't done it yet, also add gold into your portfolio. Diversify. It's all about diversification.
Yes, I totally take that. That's very sensible advice. Sylvia, it's 3 wishes time. If I gave you 3 wishes for the future of the customers of your business, Goldex, what would they be?
One, that they make money.
Yes, good one.
You know, that's the whole point. I love when our clients make money because they come back for more. 2 is that they learn something new that maybe up until the day that they met Goldex, they hadn't realized that they could do. Many friends say, when I'm a millionaire, I will buy gold. And I say, do you know you can invest £10 in gold? Oh, can you? Yeah, because we go into micro fractions. So you can actually even buy 1 penny of gold. So giving access to everybody to an asset class that up until now has been perceived only for millionaires and the James Bonds of this world. So that's my second wish for them, that they actually know that they can also participate, and it's not only for the rich and wealthy. And then the final thing that I would wish for my customers is that they actually think that Goldex is a good app, that we're doing a good job for them, that they leave us some good feedback, that they spread the word, and if they think that they work for them, that they help us a little bit to help other people invest in gold.
Sylvia Carrasco, CEO of Goldex, I've not only thoroughly enjoyed meeting you, but thoroughly enjoyed that very deep look into gold and the opportunity. Thank you for the interview.
Thank you so much, Malcolm. Thank you.